Hey, co-reporters, welcome back to my channel. Look who is crying broke, you guys. None other than Wendy Williams's ex-husband, Kelvin Hunter. Remember, Wendy's Wells Fargo bank accounts have been frozen. She herself has not really had direct access to her own money in a while now. And so naturally, as a result of that, she has not been able to make the alimony payments for her trifling Dirty D ex-husband. And so he has run to court asking them to rent him his money because he can't pay his bills without it. He's facing foreclosure and everything. Listen, I know a lot of you guys are going to be cheering because he's dirty and he did her dirty and he was very cruel and evil to her throughout their marriage. But I kind of feel as though he's exaggerating a bit. So this kind of reminds me of something that's going on in the press right now between the Real Housewives of Miami star Lisa Hutchinson and her estranged husband. She's claiming she can't even buy their child diapers and stuff. But listen, she's a star on a Bravo show. She's got money. Okay. I think that people kind of exaggerate to really get a sense of urgency there out of the judges. But I digress. Anyway, let's dig into the story. We're going to be reading along together here. So The Sun broke this news, by the way. The U.S. version of The Sun obtained the court filing from Kevin's legal team themselves. So in the court filing, Kevin asked that the court order Wendy's guardian to make payments as contractually required under the MSA and severance agreement. Don't forget, you guys, Wendy was put into a financial guardianship earlier this year. Wells Fargo withdrew her access to her bank accounts. And so now there's someone else managing her finances. Don't quote me on this, but for some reason, the name Bernie is coming to mind, her manager. I kind of feel like it's him or something like that. Maybe it's an attorney. I'm not sure. But for some reason, the name Bernie is coming to mind. So Kevin told the court that his entire livelihood depends on Wendy Williams and the money that she has been paying him in terms of alimony. So he's actually quoted in the filing as saying that I have fallen behind on most of my bills. I currently live in a community that requires payments to the homeowners association, and I'm behind on that bill. If the homeowners association fees are not paid, foreclosure will soon follow. My car insurance hasn't been paid as a result of not receiving monthly severance payments. I'm behind on credit card payments because I have no money since the severance payments were suspended. So well, let me just finish up the last sentence here. He also continued on with, my life has been my life has been greatly affected since the plaintiff stopped making payments under our settlement agreement. I feel like on the one hand, I'm deriving a bit of pleasure in this, seeing him kind of like realize that he needed Wendy more than Wendy needed him. Like, Wendy's fine. Like, she doesn't have direct access to her money, but it's still her money. And the person who is managing it for her is giving it to her, right? But let's go back to Kevin here. I always thought that Kevin and Sharina bragged about like how many businesses that they had, right? Like, doesn't Sharina have some kind of a vegan restaurant? Doesn't Kevin have his own restaurant? Doesn't he like claim to work in production and stuff like that with other companies? Like, that's quite interesting to me that he is literally out here talking about being 100,000% dependent on Wendy. Mind you, like I said earlier on in the video, a lot of times spouses, when they make these sorts of filings, they do exaggerate in order to really like push up the urgency on getting their money. So do take what he's claiming with a grain of salt. Like, it would not be out of the ordinary in divorce court for him to be lying or exaggerating about how little money he does have. But mind you, not Raven, but Wendy has been in this financial sort of conservatorship, if you will, for a couple of months now. So I could see why that would kind of like impact him eventually. Like, yeah, he has been able to sustain himself with his last payment. I believe his last payment that he got from her was in February of 2022. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Kevin is also claiming that he needs a hip surgery and he can't afford it without insurance. And so the fact that I'm unable to sustain my life and pay my bills in order is extremely emergent to me. I cannot pay my bills and sustain my day-to-day living. It's so odd to me that he's not choosing to make his own money, right? Like, Kevin, you have these businesses, maybe it's time to sell them off and go work for somebody else, because I don't know that it's a smart idea to tie your entire livelihood to Wendy, your hip surgery to Wendy, your home insurance stuff to Wendy, like your car to Wendy. Like that is an awful lot. So on October 15th of last year, Kevin was informed by Wendy that her contract was being suspended and that no compensation shall accrue or be payable to him for the duration of his disability and incapacity. So they're saying, listen, you knew that she was out of work for a while, so don't even come to us with this. If for any reason Kevin's contract with Wendy is not renewed and or otherwise suspended, and Kevin does not have any other television show being aired and paying her an equivalent salary, he understands and agrees that all severance payments shall be subject to either termination or modification. So it seems as though they're going to be kind of duking it out in the court of law over how much Wendy owes him now that things have changed for her as well personally, right? Like Wendy was still hosting her TV show at the time when this divorce settlement was created, but she's been out of the TV world for a while now. I feel like it's been over a year at this point. So things have changed for her financially, not only with not really making money on TV anymore, but with also not even having access to her own money. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how this plays out. So please do make sure to subscribe for follow-up content on this story as it unfolds. Don't forget the name is right up there on the top left. This is an exclusive that was broken to us by the U.S. Sun. Okay, so for the meantime, please let me know how you feel about Kelvin Hunter's entire livelihood being tied to Wendy Williams and how he cannot afford his hip surgery, he cannot afford his car, he cannot afford his house without Wendy. Do you think his house will actually go into foreclosure? I personally don't think so, but I digress. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.